Welcome to the deep dive. Today, our mission is pretty laser focused. We're looking at a single professional profile that I think really serves as a blueprint for understanding this massive shift happening in human resources.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So, forget that old image of HR as just the paperwork department. We're here to really dig into the philosophical and, I guess, the tactical shift that turns HR from a corporate support function into the main engine for growth.
And we're diving into a really fascinating career arc here. It starts at the most granular level, the front lines of talent acquisition, TA, and it goes all the way to founding a strategic consulting firm.
Right.
And what I find most insightful is the origin story itself. The source material really emphasizes that the initial learning wasn't about mastering policy. It was about the raw skill of just matching people to opportunities.
And getting good at it.
And as they put it, developing the ability to read ambition in voices.
Reading ambition in voices. I love that. That phrase, it immediately sets the tone, doesn't it? It suggests that real success in this field is rooted in, deep human insight.
Exactly, not just checklist compliance.
So this profile, it reflects over a decade of hands-on corporate experience. We're talking navigating everything from chaotic hiring cycles to these huge policy rollouts, restructuring all the compliance hurdles. What was the one big realization that came out of all of that?
The realization is, it's actually simple, but it's pretty revolutionary for a lot of corporate leaders. It's that HR is not a support function.
Okay.
It is, in fact, the absolute backbone of sustainable growth. And look, this isn't just a catchy slogan. It's an operational truth that's learned in the trenches.
So if you treat it like a cost center.
If you view HR as a cost center you're just trying to minimize, your growth will be brittle. It just will. Because you're ignoring the very engine that creates stability, manages risk, and, ensures everyone's pulling in the same direction.
That's a serious reframing. It moves HR from being something you staff when you can afford it to something you invest in to guarantee you'll be around long term.
Absolutely.
And this belief, this is what led to founding HR Knights Consulting, OPC, BVT, LDT, LTD. Can you maybe unpack the name for us a little bit?
I can. The OPC part stands for one-person company.
Oh.
And that detail is actually really critical.
Why is that?
Because it shows the whole firm was born from this singular, powerful vision held by one person who just saw all the systemic gaps in traditional HR services. The firm itself was built on this dual philosophy. HR has to be both strategic and it has to be fundamentally human.
Okay, so strategic, meaning it aligns with the P&L, with the business goals, and human, meaning it takes care of employee welfare.
Exactly. You hit it. It needs hard processes that drive business goals, that's the strategic side, but it has to apply those processes with empathy, right? Ensuring fairness, growth, development, that's the human side.
Sounds like a balancing act.
It's a constant attempt to merge cold, hard business consulting with, warm, empathetic people management.
Okay, so let's unpack the implications of that, because this is where the profile really starts to get, almost astonishing. The current role is massive. The CEO has to hold an almost absurd number of titles at the same time.
Yes.
And they're all necessary to build processes, strengthen culture, and drive organizational transformation.
And this is where we get to the core insight. For anyone out there looking to either hire or to become a modern HR leader, they're responsible for the traditional executive roles, right? CEO, HR business partner, or HRBP and talent strategist.
The usual suspects.
The usuals. But to actually build and scale a company today, they have to integrate functions that traditionally live in totally different departments. We're talking CFO, so Chief Financial Officer, CTO, Chief Technology Officer, and even CMO, Chief Marketing Officer.
Wait, okay, I have to challenge that for a second. I get the need for financial savvy, the CFO part, to manage compensation and benefits budgets. That makes sense. But asking a single HR leader to be a chief technology officer and a chief marketing officer, it sounds like a recipe for becoming a jack of all trades, master men.
That is a completely fair skepticism. And it really highlights the gravity of this shift we're talking about. This profile isn't just listing titles for the sake of it.
So it's about the skill set.
It's defining the required skill set for modern organizational transformation. If we connect this to the bigger picture of scaling a business, the necessity becomes crystal clear. You just cannot successfully lead an organization today without mastering the systems and the communication channels that define your entire relationship with talent.
Okay, give me a concrete example. Why does an HR leader need CTO or CMO skills?
Okay, think about the new HR battleground. Where is it? It's the search engine.
Right.
Traditional functions like comp and benefits, Statutory compliance, those are table stakes. You have to get them right, period. But if you're trying to attract world-class talent, you have to treat your careers page and your employer brand like a high conversion landing page. And this brings us right to the technical skills that are listed in the source material: web design, content management, and specifically SEO and SEM.
SEO being search engine optimization, SEM is search engine marketing. So the HR leader is now directly responsible for digital performance metrics.
Precisely. If your HR leader doesn't understand SEO, how people search for jobs, what keywords they're typing into Google, you are losing a top talent before they even see your application form.
They're invisible.
They're invisible, and they need SEEP skills to run targeted recruitment campaigns. A strategic HR leader has to audit the company's entire tech footprint, from, the applicant tracking system's efficiency, which is a CTO role, to the consistency of your external cultural messaging, which is a CMO role. They're bridging that gap between human needs and tech execution.
So the full list of expertise, then, it's basically a modern roadmap for organizational health.
Yeah.
You need the traditional HR stuff, talent acquisition, or restructuring policies, all that crucial regulatory stuff like comp and benefits and the statutory compliance.
Yes.
But now you have to seamlessly integrate all of that with process consulting, vendor management, and this whole digital suite.
Yeah. The traditional roles are about internal mechanisms, and protection. The digital roles are all about external projection and speed. This kind of leader is the ultimate integrator. They're capable of navigating a contract dispute with a vendor 1 minute and then optimizing the metadata on a job posting the next.
Let's circle back to that initial philosophy, that commitment.
Right.
What is the core mission that ties together managing strict compliance requirements on one end and running a successful SEO campaign on the other?
The guiding mission is powerful, and it's very specific. It's to create workplaces where people grow, businesses thrive, and strategy meets empathy. That phrase, strategy meets empathy, that's the synthesis of this entire multifaceted role.
Okay, we need to analyze that synthesis. How does a strategic CFO skill like, say, designing a really competitive data-driven compensation model, how does that meet the empathy requirement? Where's the friction?
That's where the magic happens, right? The strategy, the CFO mindset, it dictates that you must pay market rate to attract top talent. That is pure business logic.
Right.
But empathy, the human element, dictates that you also have to ensure internal equity and fairness so your existing employees feel valued and they don't leave because of perceived pay gaps.
So you're not just chasing new talent while ignoring who you already have.
Exactly. A truly strategic HR leader doesn't just match the market, that's the strategy. They build a compensation structure that is transparent, it's defensible, and it promotes fairness across the entire organization. That's the empathy.
And if you only do one?
If you only focus on strategy, you get high turnover and a toxic culture. If you only focus on empathy without any budget reality, the business becomes unsustainable, it goes under.
So it's not just about execution. It's this constant ethical and economic reconciliation. So what does this multifaceted approach mean for you, our listener, if your organization is looking to scale or maybe rebuild or even just rethink its HR foundation?
It means that the success of your next big move hinges on integration. If you're looking to hire, you can't just look for an HR leader who knows policy. You need someone who can audit your current applicant tracking system from a tech efficiency standpoint, that's a CTO skill, while at the same time ensuring that system stays compliant and gives a positive candidate experience, which is a pure HR and empathy skill. This approach is really a demand that we view HR as a full-stack developer of the entire organization.
Okay, so let's summarize the key takeaway here. This profile shows that the strategic HR leader today is, well, they have to be a cross-functional expert. It's mandatory. They're handling compliance, finance, and the entire digital presence required to attract and talk to talent.
They're the essential integrator. They tie the balance sheet directly to the employee experience.
So that leads us to a final provocative thought for you to consider as you reflect on this blueprint for strategic HR.
Yeah, and given this immense pressure to drive transformation where strategy meets empathy, we've seen this person has to master everything from, federal compliance law to digital marketing. So here's the question for you. Which part of this multifaceted role, the modern technical digital mastery, the web design, SEO, CMO skills, or the foundational non-negotiable compliance and policy work, which one is the single most overlooked ingredient for achieving that true sustainable business growth we've been talking about?
Think about where your own organization puts its focus, and maybe more importantly, where it consistently fails to integrate.